You can play more than one game. That might sound like an obvious statement, but it really isn't quite as obvious as you'd think. It is super easy to get obsessed with one game at a time and not want to play anything else. So starting off, if you only play one game, you are going to hate it. Think about the games that you play right now and try to think in your head how much percentage each of those games gets. It should be pretty even. Obviously, you might be playing one game more than the others, but generally speaking, you don't want to be playing a game exclusively or very near exclusively. Like, if you're getting banned out on, say, Call of Duty, right? Call of Duty is your favorite game. It's all you want to play. You're playing it, let's say, like, that's the only game you're playing, and then on an evening you're playing some 8-ball pool on your phone, like before you go to sleep for like half an hour. Obviously then the difference is going to be absolutely massive, and that is not what you want, because if you're playing one game way too much, you are going to still get banned out on it even if you are playing something else. So try to play more games, but also try to play more games more, and don't let one game become kind of the only thing you're playing. Try and find some games as well that you can play with friends, or that you only play with friends. And if you don't have friends, this is going to be a lot harder for you. But try and get a nice balance, I would say, of single player games and multiplayer games. Single player games, more things that you can play on your own, and then try and have the multiplayer games be games you will only, or drastically more so, play with friends. Things like battle royales. If you have no friends online and you really want to play that game, I honestly think it's probably better for you to just wait to get on with them again, because you're going to burn yourself out by doing that as well, because you've got no one to play with, your team's not optimal, you might get like really bad teammates, like things like that. It all generates this like negative feeling about a game that you really don't want to be carrying, because then it ends up getting not fun. And that's the exact thing that happened to me with Apex Legends. I absolutely sweated Apex Legends for months. And it takes me on to my next point. I was playing Apex Legends almost religiously, but occasionally I would load up some Rocket League as well, which is another game that I have been playing for years. It's like a comfort game. I can always go back to it. So this is my next point. Play other games at the same time, and with the whole percentage thing, try and think of it in your head. If I was playing 50% Rocket League and 50% Apex, it would have probably been fine. Ideally, I would say you probably want to throw in a third one in there, but for me, I wasn't doing that. I was playing 90% Apex and maybe 10% Rocket League, and what that ended up leading to was burnout of actually both games, just at a slower rate. I started getting sick of playing Rocket League. I was playing a lot of ranked, and I stopped wanting to play. Ever since then, my rank has never been able to get high enough, because I've never delved back into the game to the same amount. That is just due to change of preferences, growing up, things like that. And that's another thing. You might stop liking a game because you're just outgrowing it. Maybe it has some content updates that make it more flashy and like attractive to children's mindsets, and you're growing up, maybe you're an adult, you may not like that anymore. It's normal to sort of phase games out in a natural cycle. You don't have to play the same game forever, but this video is obviously targeted towards you not playing the same game forever, but playing the same game for as long as you can reasonably enjoy it. So talking about ways you can reasonably enjoy games and stay passionate about them, I have a few suggestions. So play in different ways. If you play something like Fortnite, for example, and you play it with your mouse and keyboard, maybe try using a controller, or download the game on your phone and give it a try if you can. Play them in different ways. Experience them in all ways you can, and maybe just stick to it. Like Rocket League, for example, that is a game that is heavily controller dominant. You do not see many mouse and keyboard players because it is so unoptimal. You're limited so much with that. But if you are a controller player, maybe try using mouse and keyboard for the day. Or if you're a mouse and keyboard player, that like 1% of you there is, maybe try playing controller for a day. And this can apply to any game you are passionate about. Fortnite, you can play it with a controller, you can play it with mouse and keyboard. Most games can be mix and match like this. But if that's maybe not your cup of tea, if maybe you don't feel like completely changing the control scheme of the game you play, you don't feel like having a complete new experience by playing a mobile version of the game, if there is one, why not make up challenges? Now, this is one that is chef's kiss, perfect, because you can create challenges super easily. When I used to play Apex and I started getting banned out of it, I would load into the game and I would say, this game, I am only picking up pistols. So I would have a Wingman and a P20 or a RE45. These are pistols in the game. It changes the way you play it, because where normally you might be picking the same thing every time, doing the same thing, in Fortnite you might, be playing build mode all the time. Go in no build. It's going to be a challenge for you. If you're a no build only player, go into build mode. It's going to be a challenge for you. There are ways for you to challenge yourself in small ways where you still enjoy the game. I won't say you might make it a complete challenge like Rocket League, but I can't jump. I think that would be tragic. You want to keep the game fun, unless that does sound fun to you, by all means. You want to keep the game fun by spicing it up a little bit where the actual game might not be. If the game has multiple modes that you can play, go give those multiple modes a try. Why not experience more of the game rather than just a small percentage of it, which I think is what a lot of people do. I played a lot of arenas on Apex Legends because it was something different to do. I wanted to play Apex Legends so much, it was the only game I played almost, so I would play some arenas sometimes. I played a lot of arenas because it was a different experience. Nowadays, you've got even more modes. You've got Team Deathmatch, you've got like a gun game mode. They're constantly bringing in new things, occasionally, not constantly, but occasionally, and you can do that. With Call of Duty in games like Fortnite, you can go and load into creative mode. With Call of Duty, you can try a different playlist. If you play Shipment 24/7 only, play something else. Stop trying to go for camo challenges because it makes the game a complete grind. Maybe kick back a bit. Stop trying as much because realistically, if you're playing Call of Duty, you should probably honestly play a different game entirely. Best decision I ever made. But even with Call of Duty, you can play things, you can play like DMZ, you can play Warzone. They are different experiences. You might not be comfortable with them, you might not like them, but give them a try. It's a different way to experience the game, and you might like it. You might grow to like it. Think of it like food almost. You can eat the same meal every day. You could eat potatoes and beef every single day. That could be your only meal, but you could maybe try mashing the potatoes. You could try turning the potatoes into chips. You don't have to just have this raw potato beef meal because it's not very nice. You might, first go into it thinking, I can live with this, but eventually you're going to get sick of it. You're going to mix it up, maybe put some seasoning in there. That's kind of the way you got to tackle gaming when you're so passionate about one game. Now, my next suggestion is quite a drastic one. This is going to be kind of going back to trying other games, but what I'm going to suggest is try different genres of games. You can even find games that are kind of similar to what you're doing. There's games like Overwatch, which might be some people's only game that they play. You might be watching this video with an obsession of Overwatch and you're getting sick of it. Well, maybe go try Apex Legends, maybe go try Fortnite. They are battle royales. They are still shooting games, but they, rather than being, objective based and things like that, it has a different objective entirely of just surviving. If you're someone who plays a lot of Fortnite and you're getting sick of it, why not go and try a game like Call of Duty? There's a lot of free options as well. I understand money can be an issue for a lot of people. And that's fine. There are a ton of free games. Go look for free games. Another thing I would suggest, and this is quite big and it kind of ties in with the same suggestion I've just given, do not play other games of the same franchise you're banned out on. Because I think most of the time, I would actually say probably 9.5 times out of 10, 95% of the time, franchises tend to have a lot of similarities. And you want a similar experience a lot of the time. Overwatch to Apex, it's a similar enough experience because it's a shooting game. You have to, there's a lot of thinking that goes into it. But if you were to say, go from being banned out of Apex Legends, do not go and play Titanfall 2 because the gameplay is similar enough to where you're not really having a break from that game. Think most other franchises as well. Far Cry, for example. If you sit and you play through an entire Far Cry game, you probably shouldn't go straight into another Far Cry game, because generally speaking, franchises know what works for them and they will reapply it into further releases because they know what people want, they know what people like. But the issue is, if you're already getting burned out on those things, then you're just putting yourself through the same problem in another game. Now, this is the biggest sort of shock to the system you can give. And generally speaking, I think you don't always have to, but I honestly do believe this is the sort of breaking point. I'm completely sick of this game. I need a break. And that is the suggestion. Take a break. Stop playing the game entirely. I don't mean staying up to date with what's going on, you know, take a break from the game. Unsubscribe from anything that's giving you updates on the game, reminding you of the game, trying to pull you back in. Take a break. Eventually, you might come to sort of this feeling of, wow, I miss that game, or wow, I miss this thing about the game. You can go and play it again, and you'll probably not have any of the problems you are having right now. And for my last point, it is fear of missing out, often referred to as FOMO, and seasonal content. Things like Fortnite's seasons. I think Fortnite actually does this quite well because Fortnite's content is pretty spaced out season-wise, and you normally get a new fun thing to play around with. So I think Fortnite does a pretty good job of it. I don't think there's that many people getting burned out of Fortnite, and if you are, there is so much opportunity for you to try. But generally speaking, if you are sick of a game and you need a break, these are the things that come in. So obviously Fortnite has an item shop where every single day there are new things in it. That has been discussed as an issue by loads of people over the course of like years. How the game socially manipulates people into thinking they need to be on every day to see what this new thing is. And especially with like item shops that change every day, it can be really quite damaging to some people, especially people who maybe don't have a filter with what they spend. People who will spend hundreds on a game over like the course of a month. Because you should not be spending hundreds on cosmetic items in any game. I know you might be angry, you might have a raging fist at me for saying that, but you shouldn't, because they mean nothing. Cosmetic items do not matter. And this is the whole seasonal content route that I was talking about as well. Seasonal content, so things like battle passes, you know, they are only there for a certain amount of time. If you miss out on that, if you don't get those rewards, you will never get them again. You're just bang out of luck. That is more of this fear of missing out. It wants to keep you into the game, it wants to keep pulling you in. But you don't really have to get the stuff you're going to miss out on, because it doesn't matter. And that is my final point of the video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, leave a comment and let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you all in another video. Have a great day and peace.